Hello and welcome to It's About Youth. I'm your host, Farnashe. Now, the world is rapidly changing with new advancement in technologies and artificial intelligence. So how will the future graduates adapt to this? We have here today two of our esteemed guests to talk about this issue, Dr. Chen, Head of Computer Science from Nottingham University Malaysia, as well as Zhiyuan, final year student of Computer Science from Nottingham, Malaysia. Thank you so much for joining us here today, you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Right. Let's set the scene here. How do you think the role of AI and new technologies will shape the future job market here in Malaysia? Especially, we have a future graduate here who will enter the job market soon. Let's start with you, Dr. Chen.
Yeah. So basically, AI and the emerging new techniques will definitely shape the future job market in Malaysia, but not only in Malaysia, but also in the
world.
Whole world. Yeah. So from our observation, we can see the government and also the companies have paid a very strong interest in technology-driven, or more precisely AI-driven techniques in transforming. And as an educator, I've seen so many companies trying to come to our universities asking for graduates to join their companies, and those companies from the different industries. And we have seen recently the increase of the research collaborations from the different industries, such as we collaborate with one of these chemical engineering plants. They are trying to do smart drying. And it's never happened before. Previously we have to convince them to bring AI into such kind of traditional industries. So if I say AI is changing everyone's life or our daily life, I think everyone will agree with me. Actually, this morning, my boy asked me, the 6 years old year one boy asking me, Mommy, I'm going to use AI techniques to design a new game in the future that will allow my friends to play together. So basically, AI is changing everything, every industry. So we see a lot of these good opportunities, and we heard a lot of these new technologies such as cloud computing, blockchains, and also AI ethics. So those would be the fantastic opportunities to the job market.
Right. I mean, you definitely see a lot of companies today, when they advertise for work, for example, they require certain skills, or they require certain digital skills, right? Is that the same for you, Zhiyuan, as a final year student, future graduate to be into the job market soon? Do you think, what is the role of AI here?
I think most importantly, AI itself is very broad. It is currently in every sector. We can see it in every sector, but I think AI is to assist us workers to streamline our processes, everyday processes, and so on. And I see AI as something that can help humans with doing tedious work, doing tedious process, and us actually implementing problem solving, and us actually helping out with the creative side of it. Because currently I know that AI is evolving, but then they still need human to assist, to help out with AI to do certain stuff.
Right. Okay, so Zhiyuan, as a student who's about to enter the job market, what challenges do you see in terms of students facing in terms of the ever-changing industry when it comes to new technologies and AI?
I think many students, including me, suffer from uncertainty. AI is constantly changing at such a rapid pace that today's skill that we have right now may not be sufficient for tomorrow. And this rapid change have caused a lot of graduates to feel very overwhelmed and anxious as they try to keep up with emerging technologies and techniques. And moreover, AI-driven workplaces demand high adaptability. And yet, many graduates still try to strive towards traditional career path, which may no longer exist in the future.
Right. Do you think this is the same? Do you echo the same thoughts as Zhiyuan?
Yeah, of course. For all the students, even including all the teachers, we should be able to adapt such kind of change. Change doesn't mean something bad. It could be means a lot of these good opportunities, and I think our young graduate could seize those opportunities and have a better future.
Right. So in terms of skills, you mentioned just now, with this adapting technologies, AI and all that, they would require this ever-changing skills. So Dr. Chen, what sort of skills are needed for future graduates to adapt when it comes to, this rapidly evolving landscape?
Yeah, so definitely I think the technology skills would be the key points for such kind of changes. You know, if you're talking about the AI techniques, then you should have the foundation of what AI is, how it works, you know, start from the very beginning, how are you going to gather the different type of data set from the different perspective from the company, and also you have to have the solid knowledge about how to, you know, process those informations in order to fit into a specific AI models, and how you could, you know, somehow optimize those models to fit the specific task that's, you know, guided by certain requirements and so on and so forth. And after that, you have to think about, you know, how to, you know, do the optimizations, how to do the implementations. Those technical skills will be the basic side in order to be excel in such kind of changes. So we are only talking about one aspect, that's a machine learning perspective. We also have cybersecurity, human-computer interactions, cloud computing. So there will be a lot of these different technical skills that will be quite important.
Yeah. Right. And Yizin, is this the kind of skills that you are now learning and you are now adapting to?
Yes, because I'm in my final year right now. I'm doing my final year project, which is which is based on research process, also based on machine learning, which is we need to apply a lot of machine learning techniques into training our model in order to produce some results that we want, and we hope to achieve some novel technique, we hope to create some novel techniques in order to produce some state-of-the-art results that can be published to maybe website like IEEE and so on. Right. But in terms of industry perspective, in terms of work perspective, I think as long as graduates continue to stay open-minded, continue to willing to learn new technologies and embrace the unknown, I feel like we will always have our path, we will always find our way in this AI-driven workplace and so on.
I mean, that's a very great mindset to have, you know, going into a future that is, like you said, uncertain, that can be a bit anxious for a lot of future graduates, right? But I also want to talk about, you know, you mentioned a lot of technical skills, but there's also soft skills that, you know, generally people have when it comes to creativity or even, you know, emotional intelligence. Is that sort of thing secondary now, or is it still as important as technical skills that we need right now for the future job market?
Yeah, definitely. So when we you know, train our students, you know, to be ready for the future job market, then definitely not just about technical skills. It's equally important to have the soft skills as well. And, you know, from our university, we do train our students to, you know, have the opportunity to access their soft skills, such as we have one of the modules called Software Engineering Group Project modules. So for that modules, all the students will work as a team. So definitely then the team working will be something, the soft skills that they need to excel. And many of the students have the concerns, they have been allocated into a group, they don't know, you know, the other team members and so forth.
Right.
We always emphasize this is to mimic what happened in the real world.
Right.
So we need to make sure our students to be ready for the future situations as well. So team working definitely will be one of the important soft skills. Talking about creativity, that's also very important soft skills for our students. We'll always encourage our students to look for these creativities, originalities. Those are not only for the future research, but also for, you know, their future jobs. So many of the companies, they will want their students, their employees to be easily adapt into the new situations, you know, to be able to create a new ideas. That's something is real value from, you know, those companies.
Yeah. Is this the kind of soft skills that you yourself incorporate in your daily lives?
Yes, I actually agree with what Dr. Chen said. As Dr. Chen said, like in our software engineering group project, all of us are actually randomly assigned into different groups. So during last year, I was assigned into a group where I do not know anyone in my group members, and they do not know me. So the first thing that we did was to brainstorm on, to get to know each other. Then we have to brainstorm on problem statements. So at that time, we do not know what we want to do because each one of us have different expertise, we have different interests. So what we did was to look into something that have caused us a lot of struggles in our daily activities. And at that time, we managed to create a problem statement on improving the problem reporting system on our campus. And during the process of completing the software engineering group project, we did a lot of communication, a lot of meetings, because all of the things that is in the project are all frameworks that we have never touched before, we have never learned before. So it was a very fulfilling and I would say a satisfying moment whenever we did our presentation or during open day when we approach like industrial professionals to talk about what our project is about and so on. Yes.
And these skills are required later, you know, when you do job interviews and when you actually, you know, meet with clients and do engagement and all that. So it's not just about technical skills, right? What I'm getting at, it's about also being able to communicate them, being able to present them, and being able to sort of have that creativity when it comes to, you know, engaging with other people as well. Right? Am I right? Okay. Before we move on to break, I have one more question, because this is a fear for most people nowadays, is whether or not AI would replace humans. Let's touch on this briefly. Do you think that's a concern that young graduates now have?
Yeah, I mean, during my class, the machine learning module, I always tell my students this joke. I telling them, so next year you will not see me anymore. It's going to be replaced by an AI teacher.
You probably not see me as well. You know, AI host.
So we cannot deny that AI will reduce many of the jobs, especially for those jobs is labor incentive or could be just task oriented. They can easily replace human being. And I don't know if you are at my age, you know, roughly at my age, we have the bus, there was a people selling the tickets. And nowadays we just use a card, right? And even the toll, we can just use a touch and go within, we can pass, right? So, but we have to remember, it replaces some of these people selling the tickets, but at the same time, behind this card, there will be so many other engineers working on that, the automations, you know, all the AI techniques and so on and so forth. So we don't need to worry too much about replacing, you know, some of the current jobs. It will be replaced, we have to admit that. But at the same time, it do create a lot of these new fantastic jobs. You know, last night I see these videos, they, two fantastic new jobs. They call it a prompt engineer, and the other you call it chaos engineer. Prompt engineer is that everyone is using our ChatGPT, right? So, but we need, you know, the human to have the right skills to talk to the ChatGPT in order to get accurate information. And the chaos engineer is something is more interesting. It's like I'm working with one of the local bank for these anti-money laundering things. And this chaos engineer is trying to create something, you know, thinking from a bad guy's perspective, how to attack the bank's system, how to, you know, to do some suspicious transactions without, you know, being detected by the existing system, so on and so forth. So we are going to have a lot more exciting jobs, you know, in the market. So we don't need to worry too much.
And like Yuzin said just now as well, right? AI still requires human to operate it, to be a part of it. It still needs us to feed the data, to feed the information as of right now. And I think it frees up a lot of space for humans to think about other things as well, and leave the sort of more tedious thing for AI to do, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we will have a quick break. Stay tuned for more. Hello and welcome back to It's About Youth. Today we are discussing the future of work with the advancement of new technologies and artificial intelligence. We are joined by Dr. Chen, Head of Computer Science from University Nottingham Malaysia, as well as final year student of Computer Science as well. Right, in the first half we discussed about, you know, overall how will AI impact the future job market and what sort of skills needed for graduates to adapt to this ever-changing landscape. But let's talk about sort of on-ground, more, you know, what's happening right now. Let's start with you, Yuzin. Do you think universities right now are adapting students to all these skills or digital skills that prepare them for this future of work?
Definitely, yes. Universities do provide like fundamental knowledge on, let's say, programming, let's say technical skills, problem solving, effective communication, and agile teamwork. Yes. So in terms of that, I believe that as a graduate, dedication, grit, and curiosity are the fundamental aspect that all graduates should have in order for them to continuously learn and adapt. Yes. So during my internship at JX Bank, I have learned a lot of technical skills, including API development, unit testing, and database query optimization. And all these three are all all the knowledge the fundamental knowledge are all learned from university itself. So I believe that I started out as a quite reserved intern, but as I embrace open communication and creative problem solving, I realized that I gained a lot of confidence. And slowly, I believe that I have contributed to the team efficiency as well as prevented miscommunication and so on.
I mean, that's obviously on yourself as well, not just, you know, universities providing them, but on you as well, your effort and your investment into this. But I'm here to look for problems. So is there any gaps, do you think, that universities, if not your university, you know, other universities in general, or the education system in general per se, that you think can improve just, when it comes to preparing students for this future of work? Let's dive a little bit deeper.
I think this question is very interesting. I think one aspect that universities can do is probably improving on how to communicate with students, because during lectures, most of the lectures these times are, yes, they are improving, but a lot of the lectures currently are still one-way communication. So it's more like lecturers speak for 2 hours and students listening to it for 2 hours as well. But I can see that in University of Nottingham, Malaysia, more lecturers are trying to adapt two-way communication by incorporating activities into the lectures, by proactively asking students to answer questions, as well as utilizing technologies such as Kahoot to incorporate into the teaching materials to ensure that students actually understand what they are learning.
Right, so more sort of fun, immersive activities. Dr. Chen, coming from the teacher's side, do you think that, you know, universities in Malaysia actually prepare not just students but teachers as well in terms of, you know, teaching our future graduates to face on this ever-evolving landscape?
Yeah, I mean, just use our university as an example. So we are one of the earliest, you know, the universities providing the AI-related, computer science-related courses. So one of the challenges definitely will be how are you going to update your curriculum to meet the current needs, the industry needs. And what we did is to have the industry people to come and review our modules annually, and we will receive their feedbacks. And if certain expertise we don't have, you know, this could be many of the universities are facing the same challenge. You know, it's always difficult to get, you know, the people with the right expertise. So what we did is we invite the industry experts to come and deliver the guest lectures. They will share the latest technologies or even the real projects they are working on with our students to let the students to understand what happens in the real world situations. So this is about the curriculum. About, you know, my student mentioned about, you know, communication, the teaching technologies, the methods is also something I believe will be the challenge for the universities as well. So we always, you know, encourage our staff to do the two-way communications, make sure the students will be involved. You know, the new generations, they will lose their attentions just within 20 minutes if it's really not something they're interested. So what we did is university-wise, we will provide, you know, the funding support for those students for those lecturers to try the new technologies to bring something interesting to our room. And because of the, you know, the new technology, the AI technologies, so there are a lot of these, you know, teaching tools available. So what we did is to upskill our lecturers. So similarly, there should be something, you know, all the other universities, you know, are doing or need to do in the future, you know, so on and so forth. Yeah.
Right. I mean, when it comes to Malaysia right now, you know, we are investing a lot on AI right now. We have a lot of investment, billions of investment from data centers, for example. We have, you know, even at schooling level, they're looking at basic training for AI. Do you think that universities right now are preparing students for jobs that may not have even exist yet?
Yeah. So as you know, to give the two examples, let's say we have the prompt engineer and also for, you know, the chaos engineer, never exist before. But I'm quite confident my students, you know, will be ready for such kind of a job as well. So I always have, the parents will come and ask the universities whether you're providing a certain training for my case. And we're always, trying to share our view about education. It shouldn't focus mainly just on specific techniques that's only used for a certain time, such as if you're talking about the AI things, now people is using Python, and before that there will be R, there will be, LSP, and there will be other programming language. If we're just chasing, the existing tools, we will never catch up. It will be quite difficult. Right. So what we should focus is to make sure our students to have the ability to, self-learning, to be continuous, learn the new things, to adapt easily to any of these challenge situations. Right. So that should be something we are working on.
Yeah, I was about to ask, are students actually doing that at universities? Are they, following the latest trend on AI or following the latest trend on new technologies?
Yes, I personally think that problems itself comes from experience, because we experience that problem, and that's when we know that, oh, this is a problem, and that's when we know that, okay, so how to tackle this problem. So I think in terms of university experience, yes, we do. So I think it's very fun that one of our module, which is human-computer interaction, we get to communicate with locals itself. We organize like trips to maybe Malacca to talk with locals on their problems and on how can we solve their issues. Yes, other than that, I think student itself should proactively try to upskill independently. Right. And personally, I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to attend many activities while studying at University of Nottingham, Malaysia. So one of the activities was that I managed to join a hackathon with IS Selangor Digital and Data Hackathon with a group of my friends, in which we managed to learn a lot of real industrial insights, managed to apply our technical knowledge into real challenges, as well as managing our time management. So working under tight deadlines forces us to actually think critically and communicate effectively in order to complete the project that we want.
All right. I mean, you mentioned that there's a lot of skills that involve as well when you go on ground and you sort of simulate sort of real life problems and immerse yourself in some of the day-to-day problems that can be solved with new technologies and AI. So that's amazing. We have a few more minutes left, so let's talk about one of the main factors that you actually touched on a little bit, which is going down on the ground when it comes to urban and rural divide. Digital divide is quite jarring. If you actually go on the grounds, there are certain places in rural areas who don't have internet, who don't even have access to all these new technologies. So how can we actually bridge this? How can universities or even future graduates bridge this digital divide? We can start with you. Let's
Chen. Yeah. So obviously, everyone knows about the challenge the rural area is facing. So one particular problems will be infrastructure, right? So, but we do see the positive effects from the government, from the companies. They are trying their best to help those rural areas to build, let's say, the internet connections, to set up those things to make sure the rural people can still access. And the good news for AI is that once you have the internet, then basically you could do a lot of things. So such that people from the rural area, they can use those internet to access these free resources. There are a lot of these free training resources as well. So the second challenge would be the resources. Some of these free resources, the rural people might not be aware. So such as, students, even the teachers might not aware there's, a lot of these companies, they are providing the free training courses. And from the universities wise, we obviously encourage to have these community projects trying to help people from the rural area. So one of the examples I can give you is we're working with this research center called Future Crops. So we are doing to study some of the underutilized crops and helping the farmers to, is it possible to plant those underutilized crops, then they can earn more money. So this could be one of the examples we are working. So the research-wise, we are trying to help the rural people. I think the national-wise, they also provide a lot of these financial assist for the students, scholarships provided by those big companies.
Right. I mean, so financial assistance, disseminating information, because you said there's a lot of also free resources out there that they can tap into. Also going on the ground, right, and engaging with those in rural communities on what more they can do. Do you have anything to add?
One thing that I would like to add is coming from a non-tech savvy background, a lot of my family members initially, thought of AI as invasive into our family, like invasive, like, oh, they will replace us soon. So I think one important aspect is education.
Right.
So we must educate, like, educate community on like, AI is actually not invasive. AI is here to assist you with your day-to-day task. Yes.
Right. I think it's all about communicating as well, right? Communicating with your friends, having this sort of discussion. You know, this is what I use on ChatGPT. This is what I do on this app. It's about, you know, sharing, because I think the more you share and the more you tell people that what you're doing with AI and new technologies, the more other people can learn as well, right? We are running out of time, I'm afraid, but I think we have already reached a conclusion where the future job market here is pretty much ready for this advancement of new technology. There's gaps and things to improve about, but I think just listening to both of you talk about how passionate you are when it comes to you know, honing these new digital skills and honing soft skills as well when it comes to the future job market for graduates, when it comes to new technologies and AI. I think that's very hopeful for young graduates. That's all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Chen and Yizin. That's all from me as well. I'm Fanashe. Thank you for watching.